So we're doing the newspapers. Good morning, good people. Mama V and Kojo. How was your weekend?
Morning.
Not bad at all. I went to see a movie.
Which one?
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Okay, how did it go?
I don't know why Mama V's laughing.
That movie has got great reviews.
I didn't expect you to say that.
Really?
That movie has got great reviews.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think it's the best one so far.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a movie nut.
Okay, so give us a gist.
When is he retiring?
No, I'm not going
by
to
the
tell
way?
you what.
I want to go and watch
I
it.
think have you ever
Is it on
watched
today?
Yes, yes.
What time?
At several showings throughout the day. I think 3
Yeah.
o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7
I think
o'clock.
I've seen it.
I should,
Yeah.
I should catch the 3 o'clock
Wait,
one.
where did you see it, Mama V?
At home.
Mama V, the
Nah,
movie, the
we
movie
just
is
came
still in
fresh.
cinemas and you watched it at
So
home.
so I'm saying either I have seen it or excerpts.
No. Yeah, you've seen the reviews
Or something,
are on.
'cause it's-
yeah.
'cause it's-
Yeah, Fallout.
That's what I was saying.
Don't
When is he
admit to the commission
retiring?
of
When
a
is he
crime.
retiring?
It just came on, so.
Because I also heard, I think from what I watched, that a
Yes.
lot of the stunts he did himself.
Himself,
We're
yeah.
talking Tom Cruise.
That's it, that's
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
They
why
flew up
I
in the
feel
air
it's
and all that.
familiar.
Who is pushing, very soon will be 60, I think. Yes, Thomas May Potter
He will
III.
be,
That's his
he will be
real name,
60.
by the
He's in
way.
his
I thought he's
50s.
50, just early 50s.
Oh, no, I think he's past 55.
Yeah?
He looks
Yeah.
good.
Great, actually.
He looks good.
Yes.
I don't think he
He's-
takes alcohol. He doesn't have sex a
Oh,
lot.
Roland.
Please, how do
It's
you know
wellness.
these
We just
things?
did wellness from Love FM's over the weekend.
But it's a
Fantastic.
fantastic movie, a wonderful
Yeah.
story, very inventive. You know, when you think they can't take it anywhere else, they bring you in a.
So there's going to be
whole new-
another one?
Oh, there's the potential for
That could
many,
go
many more.
Wow.
Yes,
Sounds
yeah.
like James Bond.
But over the weekend, I was looking at how you should retire at a certain point. His character should just be, I don't know, there should be like a last one. Would it always be great? Because I
Or-
was
or
looking at
maybe he can hand over to-
Hugh Jackman.
Maybe
Which
he can
movie
hand
is
over to
that?
someone else.
But
You know.
but I think for him to hold his own this far with the only the movies in the way they are in the series or the sequels, I think they're fantastic.
Indeed,
Because
indeed.
for
All right.
you to be spellbound with one actor, seeing his face all the time, he's from young to growing old, it's fantastic.
You have a live, Kojo. At least you went to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Well, I got invited by friends. I couldn't say no.
Yeah,
It was a
I can
great time.
imagine who. All right, if you
It's
just
serious.
join us, you missed
you
the
don't have a life,
news,
it's
but
serious.
we have
Oh, you don't
the
have a life.
newspapers.
It's serious.
Well, what did I say wrong?
You say you
I
don't
just-
have a life. He has life.
I didn't say
I
that.
really don't know what she means by
I
that.
didn't actually even say
have a
that.
life. No,
Okay,
today I
let's
was
do
a
the
weekend.
newspapers. Let's start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Graphic this day. Catholic bishops fights corruption. How? The full story is on page 3. Also, UMB avets cyber attacks, except that when you read the story in the paper, it really doesn't tell you how it happened, except to talk about the fact that they've got, solid things in place. So whoever or whichever people couldn't break through. I'll read a bit of the story. There's also Greater Works supplement inside, 16 page.
Makes it
So it's
very
just
thick, doesn't it? Yeah.
announcing that Greater Works climaxes 40 days of power. There's no morning session today, by the way, but I think there's morning tomorrow from 9 till about midday, and then there's the evening at the Independence Square.
Sorry, Mama, just in case it's important, we do have more detail on that cyber attack story in the
Oh, in the Finder. Okay,
So,
all right.
I'll share
Because
that.
what I saw in the graphic was very small.
Yes.
Also, the Graphic Business Stanbic meeting comes off tomorrow. The AM show will be at the Labadi Beach Hotel tomorrow. Let me run through the theme for this Graphic Business Stanbic Business Breakfast meeting: unlocking economic growth through manufacturing, quality, costs, and competitiveness. It will be live on JoyNews. Also, victims of human trafficking get state shelter. We're still running through the headlines on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. President allays fears about double intake. So let's go to page 3, a bit of that. The Catholic Bishops' Conference has launched a multifaceted initiative in its quest to help the government halt environmental degradation, fight corruption, and halt indiscipline. To ensure the effectiveness of the initiative, the conference is teaming up with some state agencies, including the National Commission for Civic Education, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies to restore sanity on all fronts. So you can read the story, details of the story, and then check out how they intend doing this. Okay, let's see which other story in the paper. A bit of that's UMB, and then Kojo will give us more details. It says the Universal Merchant Bank says it successfully collaborated with the Ghana Police Service to cause the arrest of an unscrupulous syndicate that attempted to attack the bank's infrastructure last week. Quotes, UMB wishes to state that due to the significant infrastructural investment made into the bank's operational systems, the technical and security teams of our bank were quickly alerted and moved very swiftly to avert this situation. If you read to the end, at least what is in the graphic, it doesn't tell you how. So, Kojo, how did this happen?
Okay, then. So, it was a rather daring attempt. I'll read a couple of portions from the Finder's coverage of this story. They say a circuit court last Friday remanded 11 out of 12 suspects into police custody to reappear on the 9th of August as investigations into this continue. On Friday evening, another suspect was arrested, bringing the total number to 12. So he is yet to be arraigned before court.
Okay.
And we don't know whether he will also be remanded into custody. Now, the suspects are believed to be part of a wider cybercrime syndicate made up of Nigerians and Ghanaians, and they attempted to transfer a whopping 326 million Ghana cedis from the vaults of the Universal Merchant Bank electronically. Okay, so what happened was they moved the money from the vault into certain accounts that they had created for that purpose. Okay, or to be more accurate, it was transferred electronically from the internal from the vault into the internal operational accounts, which is the place from where you can disburse into various accounts. And from there, they moved it into certain accounts.
In Ghana?
Yes.
Ghana.
This is where, yes.
Okay.
This is where UMB noticed what was going wrong, okay? So they immediately alerted the CID, who came in and said, okay, look, instead of blowing the alarm now, let's watch. Let's see who withdraws the money, who comes into the bank to take money from those specific accounts, then we arrest them.
Okay.
Now, what happened was the first withdrawals didn't happen in Ghana.
Wow.
Yes. Visa cards were used to withdraw the money in Dubai. Up to 1 million Ghana cedis was withdrawn from ATMs in Dubai. Okay? Before the next wave of withdrawals started to occur here in Ghana, that is when the CID were able to arrest 6 people and then 6 others who are believed to be their accomplices. That makes up the 12. Okay? So that's how it went down. But several issues concern me. First of all, I noticed that the CID, there is a story that is sort of giving credit to the CID. Yes, credit must be given to them for their role that they played in it, which was the arrests. But we also have to evaluate the decision they made to hold on and whether or not the Dubai withdrawals will ever, be recovered, whether they'll be able to capture those. Maybe these 6 will give away the names of the others. We don't know, but let's let them do their job.
I think they limited the search.
But it's important to commend.
You kind of forget that.
Yeah,
somebody could have withdrawn the money from outside Ghana.
It's true. But it's important to commend the CID, especially the cybercrime unit. Look, a win is a win. And if they have managed to bring these people to court, it's good. Let's hope that the system also takes it further and the prosecution goes well. But that's how it went down.
Wow, it's
almost like something out of a movie, right?
Yeah. Sounds like a movie.
I think the biggest haul so far happened somewhere in Asia. There was one that happened in New York, and then this one happened. The one in Asia happened, and they perpetrated themselves, and said, "Well, you said we couldn't get into the system in Hong Kong."
So we wanted to prove to you that
of course,
we could.
And then there's been some a loss of about 47 million US dollars that happened with bitcoins as well. Well,
let me finish the daily graphic. So page 26, still where the UMB story is this other story about health workforce below optimum. That's according to Dr. Insia Sari. He's the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. So the Ghana Health Service has started a number of interventions, such as human resource gap analysis in all health facilities, developing a human resource information system to track health workers' availability and distribution in the service, and decentralizing recruitment with quotas as part of measures to address the long-standing challenge of inequitable distribution of health workers towards universal health coverage. But check this number. So according to Dr. Anthony Nsiasari, the service needs about 105,440 workers in the health sector as against 61,756 workers currently at post. So 105,440 out of that, we have 61,756 of the workers. So he says majority of the workers required should be specialized health professionals, para-clinical staff, and some support staff. So more of that revelation, and perhaps how we're going to do it, and in terms of addressing the challenges.
No, but we have
in the paper.
We have the modules in the new. Is it real health?
Truth is, I haven't finished the story yet, but from where
remedy.
I got to, he didn't make reference to that.
Remedy.
No
NAPCOP.
module.
You know, hey, NAPCOP. You know NAPCOP.
NAPCO.
NAPCO.
What NAPCO?
NAPCO. It's NAPCO, eh?
So quickly, back page.
There's no at the end of it.
Let's look at the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. By the way, you know the interview for the Builders Code, the vice president. Imagine you're going for an interview and then you see, the vice president sitting through as one of the panelists. That's what happened.
It happened in the AMA premises.
Yeah.
I think that
Really?
that would have been
So
a very
the vice president was there. He sat in the interviews. He was mostly observant from the reports, but once in a while he will ask you one follow-up.
Oh my word.
I think for any human, I think for any young person, I mean, we work here, so perhaps maybe we will say all things about the politics and all, but for any young person, for you to have applied for a government program and go to see your vice president sitting there will be a very surreal moment for everybody, because you're sitting there.
How much are they paid monthly?
700?
I can well imagine somebody say, Mr. Vice President, this is your question there, 700 cedis a month.
Maybe you will say.
But actually, I'm joking. I'm sure everybody will relish the opportunity to have an exchange with the Vice President.
Really,
and maybe you can put that on your CV, even if you don't get the NAPCO position, right?
True. It actually doesn't happen.
By the Vice President.
Yeah.
We're told that between just a little over 130,000 and 140,000 applied for a job for 100,000. So we hope that's the.
All right, so back page of the Daily Graphic. Before we do the Finder, full-blown Finder newspaper, Parliament approves $2 billion barter deal with China. Charlie, barter pa. So Parliament last Saturday approved $2 billion master project support agreement between the governments and Sino Hydro Corporation Limited of China for the construction of priority infrastructure projects in Ghana. And I'm just going to leave it there. It's already generated a lot of talking points. I don't know what you think about it. Drones, new chemicals introduced to fight army worms. It's also
that was an interesting one.
It says farmers at Ijanga in the West Mamprose municipality of the northern region have been educated on the use of drones and other newly introduced chemicals meant to fight fall army worms invasions in the area. The intervention comes at a time when the worms have wreaked havoc to large hectares of maize and rice farms. The exercise was in sharp response to a recent report by the Daily Graphic that the fall army worms had resurfaced in the Nanumba South districts and West Mamprose municipality, destroying hectares of farms.
That's a clever application of technology there. There's almost no limit to what you can do with drones, and I'm glad to see the agri sector also finding a way to make use of it. Let's hope early detection will help them in protecting valuable, crops and farmlands. It's a tough one there.
Okay.
Right. You were talking earlier. What was that story you mentioned before the agri one? The
$2 billion?
Yes.
The barter?
$2 billion, the barter.
Yeah, the barter. It's also on the front page of a Daily Guide.
Yeah.
Is it not related to the bauxite?
Yes. In Augusto,
that's the deal.
We used to call barter apalebe.
Apalebe.
So you spent your money to buy sardines and what's the green one, geisha, put in your chop box. You come to school, but you like to eat food at the
dining
the little market where they sell food. We called it down below. So if you get addicted to the wache and the banku, and your money gets finished, you start taking your sardines to go and trade for
butter. And you
yes.
say you call the barter system in Augustine.
Apalebe.
So the barter is not between students, but it's students and business.
Yeah. So I think we also did it in school.
Yes, this is global apalebe.
Well, back in school we also used to go and eat coconut
and the food you get is less than the value of the
always
sardine.
Because you are in need.
That's right. So I wonder whether in this particular apalebe, one of us will be getting less value than we deserve. Let's hope it's not.
Well,
Ghana.
nobody comes to do business
for profit, without profits.
Yeah, I mean that's the.
And the Chinese, they're very good at it.
But there's a difference between value and profit. So if we are still getting the value we deserve
and they're making
their
profits,
profit, then it's a good deal.
Win-win for all.
Yes, it's a good deal.
They're going to mine where? The Etiwa area?
Well, actually, one of the deposits. I don't know which one.
And so far, there's no mention of Etiwa.
It's a fraction of the value of our bauxite, deposits, and that's even before you process it. Once you get it to the point where it's aluminium, then the value quadruples or
it goes into
more.
alumina before it goes to aluminium.
That's right.
I think that's a trade. But I think in all tourism we're told that first it was 14 billion, then it will rack up to about 19 billion or so. But the thing is, we also needed to meet certain requirements, and so there's a master agreement, and then you have all these in between or in. The way the Chinese deal with Africa, I believe that as a continent and the leadership we have on the continent, we need to take a relook about that sort of relationship. The value you talk about, what sort of value? If you visit China, you get to find out they have so much technology that we can't benefit from. And so inherent in some of these agreements should be some level of technology, some technological transfer, for which we also know that we can add value to what we already have. And I always give this example. I don't know why we have no business promoting our own like Kantanka vehicles. Just like the way the Chinese have their own, having an assembly plant for Kantanka. And then we rather go bring assembled cars from China or any other product, whilst our local industry is suffering. And it's the same thing.
Yes, yet we say the private sector is the engine of growth. Yeah. We say a lot of things, we say a lot of things.
And then we also say, there's the new phrase now, Ghana beyond aid.
Yeah, well, I think what we mean is Ghana beyond Western aid, because it would appear that, that some aid is still welcome. Yeah. But more importantly, I mean, this deal, look, like you said, if all we want is infrastructure, and we are giving away a certain portion of our our natural resources for it, the simple question is this: are we getting enough? Are we going to end up with just the infrastructure, or will there be some money on top? Will some people grow fat on this while we just get a couple of schools out of it, or a couple of roads out of it? Let's really look at the value here. This is $2 billion we're getting, but how much was the value of what we're giving them in exchange?
There's also the effects on the environment as well. Don't forget.
Yeah. Well, the Vice President said in all we have 450 billion sitting.
That's in Etiwa.
That's sitting down below. I mean, he mentioned that. So we're just giving a fraction, which is ultimately going to increase.
But the question is, we're getting 2 billion. How much of the 450 billion are we giving them in exchange for the 2 billion infrastructure? How much? That's the real question. 20 billion. All right then, so let's have a quick look through the finder. Banner headline is the one we just talked about. CID stops 326 million Ghana City bank theft and arrest 12 suspects of a cybercrime syndicate. It has a picture of DCOP Mamitiwa Adodankwa, who's the Director General of the CID. Of course, she's the lady who was on that tape with A+, you remember. Also on the front page of the finder, nothing will stop free SHS. That's what the president is saying. Talk about that in a moment. Law school questions and marking scheme leaked. The question being asked by the finder. And save collapsing oil palm industry. Producers say this to government. Also, ASEP and VRA senior staff kick against the new Ameri deal. This is a story I wish we can keep our eye on. Details are on page 5. But first, let's quickly touch on what the president is saying. And I believe the details are on page 8. He says nothing will stop free SHS. He was speaking over the weekend. He said, though a government might not be able to make every citizen rich, with the right political will and responsible leadership, a government could help create a society of opportunities and empowerment for every citizen, and thereby reinforce the sense of patriotism. Well, he was talking about other things there. He then went on to talk about free SHS, gives examples of countries like the United States, Japan, South Korea, India, Canada, and China, who were once like Ghana, but they got out of the trap of poverty because of education. So you see, it seems as if There is a discussion about double track going on now, but the president goes a bit further back to defend free SHS. And it makes me feel a bit lost.
Isn't the two not linked?
No.
One is as a result of...
We've completed the discussion on free SHS.
We've completed
we have all agreed as a nation that free SHS is good. And if it can be continued, it will be a good thing.
Okay, but why are we here?
We are here because somebody didn't think it through. Somebody didn't
think what through?
Think the numbers through. Okay?
As a result of free SHS?
Oh no, but the point is, if they had thought it through, one of two things would have happened. Either one, from the beginning, they would have realized that by year 2, there will be a massive bump in the numbers coming in. And so there will be a need for more infrastructure. That would have caused them to either decide to A, start the free SHS at a later date, by which time they would have gathered the resources to build extra schools and so forth, or B, they would have started to educate Ghanaians from the beginning that, you know what, by the second year, we're going to have to start running a double track system. This is how it will work, this is how you can prepare for it, and this is how we will benefit from it. If somebody had thought it through from the beginning, one of these two options would have been available to them. But nobody thought to take a calculator and just work out how many people will be coming through this system every year. They failed to do that, and so now we are in this position. But the president prefers to defend free SHS rather than explain to us why we are now faced with a situation where 2 months to the total overhaul of SHS education in this country, we are now hearing.
Now we don't have 2 months.
We have less than 2 months. There you go. So that is what we want to hear the president on. Not whether free SHS is good or bad. No one is arguing that. Both political parties promised free SHS. So to be perfectly honest, I wonder how many voters actually went into the ballot box in 2016 to vote because NPP said they would do free SHS.
Well, the mode was going to be different. So
yes, but still.
There's a
how
difference.
Many Ghanaians...
Independence now.
How many Ghanaians voted because they preferred the NPP mode of free SHS to the NDC? I think there were other factors that contributed to people's choice of NPP over NDC. However, they are putting everything on the line for free SHS. So it must succeed. But how will it succeed if they are not listening to us and taking in some of our feedback? And if they insist on making this argument, then I wonder how it will all end. But
yeah. And you know, I heard the press, just to add you, so it's not as if you alone are the one saying
we want to spend a bit of time on Zimbabwe, so please. We don't have time.
Yeah, Zimbabwe should give us a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so I heard the president at the Ghana call, and I thought that we've moved the debate from somebody doesn't want to accept. No, I think we all like free SHS. My son will benefit. Sean will be a good beneficiary of free SHS. So I'm thinking the next 7 years, 5 years, how should the structure be when he has to sit home 6 months? Would I have to enroll him at NNIT whilst he's still in school for the next 6 months or before then or whatever? What about parents who can't support their children the 6 months when they are home? So those are the conversations around which I think the Ministry of Education and the presidency should be engaging Ghanaians on. I think it helps in many regards. Zimbabwe now.
Let's do the Ghanaian Times before Zimbabwe. Ghanaian Times front page. I'll stamp out Galamsey. President vows as he seeks to eradicate illegal mining in the country. A Mary Deal amendment suspended. VRA staff ASEP's kick against it. Prisoner's corpse seized for 1 year over outstanding medical bills. So the prisoner died, but his body has not been collected. They say they cannot trace his family, and he owes about 1,800 Ghana cedis. Reason his body has not been released. So the hospital is unwilling to issue the death certificate to facilitate the burial of the corpse. There's a lot more on this. I don't know how to say it. Whatever adjective to use to describe the situation, but you can read about it. It's in the Ghanaian Times. Work to commence on 37.7 million water projects in Upper East region. I think it's Euro projects. Now let's go to Zimbabwe. I think this is the first time since the founder of the ZANU-PF would not be contesting this election, but they're voting. Zimbabweans are voting today. Here's a quick wrap picked from Al Jazeera, all you need to know about this election. Very unexpectedly, though, Robert Mugabe addressed a press conference Sunday, a day before the elections, and he says he could not support those who tormented him. Listen to him.
News. Would you prefer to see the opposition win tomorrow rather than see Idi Mnangagwa return to power? You still have something to say.
If I can't vote, as I said, I can't vote for the party or those in power who are my just now, who are the people that have brought me into this state. I can't vote for them.
All right, so that's Robert Mugabe there. Would he be really, truly voting for the opposition? We see, but they say it's a close context. We will wait to see. And then Malians, they went to the polls, and that is being counted. So we'll bring you a lot more when we can later on. But guys, this is where we have to end the review.
Yeah.
Yeah, pity.
All
Look
right.
out for other stories, though.
We've got a lot more stories on myjoyonline.com. That's our homepage. Let's see if we can read at least one message or two. This one says, where is the free education, Mr. President? We are now confused as to whether there will be a fee paying or it will still be free entirely. Tanko Abubakar, Shukura. I'm not sure anybody has mentioned fee paying. This one says, we the people of Etiwa will not allow anybody to mine our bauxite. These are lands left for us by our grandparents to use their for agriculture purposes. From Yao Bonsi, New Ebirim. And this one says, do you remember F Cube? If so, then Nana Akufo-Addo hurried because he wanted power. Sheikh Musa Ibrahim sending this one, the very last one. Always exciting watching this formidable team, you say. Isaac in Ho. Well, thank you for the kind words that you use. Thank you for watching. We're back with a lot more. Stay with us. Up next is sports.